Welcome to the Nothing's Off Limits podcast. I'm Mary.
And I'm Denise, and this is my baby, Ellie.
We had another submission, actually several from the same person, and they had a few questions, actually. I think a couple of them can be kind of grouped into the same. Why is it so easy to break up with someone and having a mindset that they can be replaced easily, with someone better than what you had? It's kind of like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
And then why people don't want to build lifestyle together. They always just want the finished product immediately. They don't want to put in the work. They just want it to be an amazing movie, straight from a Hallmark movie immediately. And then not wanting to have like a traditional family. Why, men and women just don't want to have that traditional marriage and kids and family and stuff like that anymore.
I think so. For the first one that you said, people being expendable.
Yeah.
I already said like the grass is, or like that mindset that the grass is greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that and this kind of goes with all of those submissions, as like a society are so desensitized from the world. There's just so many like gloomy stuff in the world. People have just become desensitized. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, in this society seems like they're just like me. So they just can easily get rid of somebody else because they don't have that feeling of like, they only have the feeling of self. They don't have like the feelings towards other people. Does that make sense? Or like awareness.
People are very self-centered and very selfish, but you're not putting into the relationship at that moment in time, like if they think that they can do better than that.
Well, that, or if they just that they can use you because like they know that you're too nice, or they'll just get rid of you eventually. Then they'll just like take because again, it's that whole
take
mindset
what they can
of
get,
like me
before they discard you.
Exactly, which is just awful. But again, it's just like that me and self-centered and selfishness of like the society that we have these days.
Yeah, and that actually ties in one other thing that he said, like why in today's world everything is such like a transactional love. If you do this for me, then I'm gonna give you some love.
Oh, that's what that means. Like, it's like a bargain or something.
Yeah, it is. Like if you do this for me, then I will show you love.
Yeah, which is totally not cool and not fair. Me and you, as like very deeply feeling people, speaking from experience, it's definitely not fair because you give and give and give, and then they give you like a crumb.
A breadcrumb.
Yeah, like a little crumb.
Yeah.
To like hang on to.
It's very hurtful. It's really hard, and it also like creates trauma bonds and soul ties and things that are hard to break. Yeah.
And it affects like your own self too, like your self-worth, your self-image, your self like love, everything. I think
like it all just kind of circles back to being selfish,
Yes. My answer then, why is it all transactional love? Because of that. Like people get burned so many times by somebody else or somebody that they had formed a bond with prior, and then maybe they go out and like try to break that bond.
Like I can't give you the love that I want to give really until I get until you show me some first, and then I can.
So you only will give so much. Really unfortunate. Like as somebody who has like had to heal from that, not even all romantic relationships, just relationships with people in general, having to relearn and reallow really myself to like be 100%. And not just like I'll give you 50%, but I can't give you more
it's
because
scary to
I've
give you all
been
100%, and then you just
get burned again.
Get burned, be left drained and empty, and you have to build yourself back up, and it's hard, and it's hard to pour into somebody who's not giving anything back.
Exactly. I just don't want to do that 100% or all in anymore.
And that also kind of ties into his other question about like why healed people tend to attract the unhealed.
My parental father, he wasn't the best in relationships. He can say like daddy issues. I'm assuming other people are like that though too. You have like this wrong image of what love should be or what a partner should be like.
I totally agree with that.
Find that person.
They are the healed person, and so then you want a part of that. You're not healed. Your heart is not healed. You're looking for someone who can fix you. So you find somebody who has their life together, who has a clear mind, you know, who's emotionally stable, and you attach to them. But when you do that, you're also going to tear them down.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that every unhealed person is just a garbage person.
Succubus.
Yeah. Some people can be like unhealed and still actually be trying. But then you have the other ones that are unhealed, and then they want to remain in that unhealed space because they've gotten like too comfortable, and then it's everyone else's fault. The unhealed people, they may be self-aware, but they don't acknowledge it. It's the healed person's fault if they can't fit in to like the unhealed person's life. I feel like, but then it creates that trauma bond though, because the healed person is like, well, I want to heal you, and I've already, like, you've already taken so much from me,
relying on the unhealed person to heal
like
you back.
Cycle. It's just broken.
But I think, if the unhealed person is actively trying to become healed and, you know, become whole again, then I think that it can work. Which takes us back into the lifestyles. Like, you want, if you are on that picture looking at someone else's relationship, it's just, you know, you don't want this. Like, I don't want to have to work for this. I don't want to have to like heal with this person and grow and build with them to get to that point.
See, I feel like that plays into a part of, there's another submission that this person had submitted about like not wanting traditional families or like building together, is because we're looking at each other as like healed or unhealed people. They don't want to create those like lasting forever kind of bonds and like build the life together, because then you're investing too much into that other person.
And I think in this day and age, everybody is so independent. Everyone has their own money and their own jobs, and they don't want to quit that. And specifically women, which I'm not saying that like you should get married and then just be staying at home or whatever. Like, I think if you want to have your career, you should be able to have your career and thrive and do all of that. But also, it's the letting somebody in to
like allow them to take care of you. Which is,
but I think
really
a lot of
scary.
those highly independent people, women specifically, become that way from being burned so many times.
Like, my first thought with that submission was like a house, for example, because that's a big investment, so people don't want to do that because it's easier to like leave an apartment and then one person stays there and the other one moves out than it is to like have something that's like
conjoined,
solid. Which brings us to traditional families. Well, this submitter said, why do men not want traditional families anymore? But I think some women also don't want to have traditional families anymore either. But for men specifically, I can't speak as a man.
That makes it hard, but from a woman's perspective.
But from a woman's perspective, I think there's a lot to that. One could be being burned. Two is like, in today's society, from my bias and my mindset, from Christianity's point of view, is like the Bible says the man is the head of the household and is supposed to provide for the family. In today's society, though, I think it's construed where more 50, people 50. Think that, yes, it's supposed to be 50-50. So they don't want a traditional family because a traditional family is not built on that kind of foundation. A traditional family, the woman stays home, and this is something like biblical too. The woman stays home, raises the kids, takes care of the household,
cooks, takes care of the man. Until you go
But,
outside, and then it's the man's job.
But that is what a traditional family is, like, because it's based off of that biblical view.
I agree.
And so I think a lot of men in today's society, they don't want that because they think it's supposed to be 50-50. Which, having a baby now, if you want to be a career woman and you want to do 50-50, that's cool.
In today's world where it's money, though, you know, you
money,
really
money,
need to
money.
have the two incomes unless you have a really substantial
like,
job
or income.
Income flow, because
or have like
it's hard, and some women don't have the drawing to be a stay-at-home mom, or
which
you know,
is
and
fine.
That's totally fine. Everyone's different. Like, I personally, I think you also have the same, like, I want to be the caregiver, you know, like I want to take care of you. I want to
Like you don't want to
make your breakfast and your lunch and your dinner, and I want to do your laundry, and I want to take care of the kids, and I want to have fun.
Yes.
And I have really good friends who I love so much, and they, they're not like that,
and that's fine.
Like love their job, and they want to work, and they want to split the household duties, and that's fine, and I think everyone's just different. So it's also hard. You have to match with somebody who also values that.
Yeah,
because if not, then you're
and that's a huge thing too, is whenever you're out there dating, trying to find somebody, like make sure that like if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, they're gonna make that happen.
They're on the same page.
Yeah. Or like if you want to be a career woman, like then
they don't expect you to be making their lunches and their whatever.
Exactly. Because that's something that like I learned very quickly becoming a new mom, and you've been a mom, is like you cannot do everything at once anymore. Or go to work and then find care for her, and making sure that like your job fits in like the time frame that you need to like bring up your kids from school or whatever.
Because it's like impossible. It's so hard. I mean, I lived that, and that's was so like I was trying to work full time, and I was doing nights, and I was trying to do everything at the house, and take care of my husband at the time, and just do everything, and
it's just not feasible. Like it's really hard. Draining. So if you don't want a traditional family, like you want the 50-50, you have to be teammates, like and working together. You have to have understanding. There's so much to do, especially because as women, we're the natural caregivers. If you're a career woman too, it's just really hard because a lot of like the tasks of having kids falls on the woman, like regardless. Yes. So like men need to have understanding, because if you want that 50-50, you gotta like meet in the middle sometimes. Like
you have to do the 50-50.
Like if you expected to have your clothes pressed and dinner on the table every day,
because you're gonna have to be the one putting that dinner on the table sometimes.
That's why I think that people don't want or don't want traditional families anymore. They don't want all of that responsibility. They don't have that like core value. If you can do it, then you can do it.
But I mean, that's just from a woman's perspective. I don't know what it's like, why a man doesn't want to have a traditional family anymore, because I feel like they do, but they also want the 50-50. They want you to be bringing in money,
but then they still expect the
taking
other
care
part
of everything.
Yes,
it's unrealistic.
It's unrealistic. Really, like you are only one person. Sorry, men, but like but like to us as women, like that's what we see is like they want the traditional family in a sense, but like the woman still has to be working. I think all of this like comes back to the fact that like as a society, our morals are like super loose, or they're just not as firm as they used to be. Like the foundation is cracked. Like it's not a firm foundation.
Well, and all just kind of ties all back in together. It gives you the healed and unhealed people, your transactional love, all of it. So
make sure that the person that you are dating or pouring into have like a set firm foundation, because you're not going to be able to build a life or a productive life on one that's broken. So really make sure to get it all out there.
Make sure you guys have the same values.
Clean out all your dirty laundry.
You have to have the same goals, the same wants in life.
And don't go change them just because then you're going to get what you want now.
Like, I mean, if you are just like, I want what you want, but you don't actually want what they want. It's just going to cause big problems. Well, he had one more, but I think that will have to be a different time, probably. Maybe the next one. But it was like, what is a purposeful man? And this obviously, again, would just be coming from
a man's point of view.
But
it was coming from a female's point of view.
Sorry. So, I mean, we can definitely give you what our version of a purposeful man is. Or maybe we can also pick some heads and figure out what a man thinks a purposeful man is.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think? It's a good question.
Leave it all in the comments. Let us know.
Yeah.